Hey there, and welcome back. If you're feeling overwhelmed by consumer debt, struggling with credit card bills, or just tired of living paycheck to paycheck, this episode is for you. We are diving into deep, practical, non fluff strategies to help you take control of your money, break free from debt, and build a financially secure future. Let's get started. Understanding consumer debt and why we fall into it. Ever feel like your debt keeps growing no matter how hard you try to pay it off? You're not alone. Studies show that using credit cards activates the same pleasure centers in the brain as gambling. No wonder swiping feels so good. Banks love when you only pay the minimum because it keeps you in debt longer. A 500,000 loan balance at 18 to 20% interest could take you over 20 years to pay off with minimum payments. I like you to think of debt like a leaky boat. If you keep bailing out water with a cap, minimum payments, but don't plug the hole, overspending, you'll stay stuck and it's time to grab a bucket. The first step is to face the numbers. No more guessing. List every debt you owe: credit cards, loans, buy now, pay later, everything. Check your interest rates. These are your fire alarms. Interest rates of 20%, 16%, 10%, 6%, you name it. Choose your attack strategy. The avalanche method, which is mathematically smarter. Pay off the highest interest debts first to save the most money. For example, if you have a loan of 5 million and you have a loan of 1,000, it is mathematically smarter to start with the 5 million one and finish with the 1,000 one, because it will give you an overview of not only your installments but how much interest are you going to have paid in the long run. Then there's a snowball method, which is psychologically motivating. You pay off the smallest debt first for quick wins and momentum. Still on the 5 million and 1,000. You start with the 1,000, you clear the 1,000. If you have another for 10,000, you clear the 10,000. If you have for 50,000, like that, you will find that you have gained momentum to clear the debts. And so now you'll be able to now refocus much better on the bigger debts that remain. Step 3. Cut unnecessary spending without feeling miserable. The "do I need it or just want it" rule, whereby if you feel an impulse to buy something, give it a month. Give it 15 to 30 days. In 15 to 30 days, if you still feel that you need it very much, then you can purchase it. Then try the cash only challenge. Studies show people spend 15% less when using cash instead of cards, because you're aware that there is this amount of money in my pocket. So for example, if I have 5,000 and I'm planning to go somewhere to buy an item, I am conscious that I have to try and keep within my budget, compared to a credit card whereby I know it's 20,000. I am more let me not say unaware, but you're more thrifty with it compared to when that's the only cash in your wallet. Then unsubscribe from sneaky subscriptions. Yes, Netflix, I'm looking at you. But seriously though, nowadays there are so many applications, and of course we have to be careful because of the issue of data privacy. But there are so many apps which are seemingly free, where you can get, your movies. All you need to do is just pay your data, and you can watch whatever time you feel like. Step 4, boost your income. Start a side hustle. Sell unused items. Maybe you have old gadgets at home, an old TV, an old phone, clothes and furniture which are still in good shape. Then you can take on freelancing gigs. If you're good at writing, tutoring, virtual assistant jobs, that is a very good avenue to make extra income. Then try passive income ideas such as, renting out a spare room or investing in content creation, which is also what our channel is all about. If you have a spare room in your house, you can always rent it. That's how Airbnb actually started. And you might never know, maybe that's where your luck and your financial freedom will start. Negotiate and refinance your debt. Call your credit card company or your bank and ask for a lower interest rate where applicable. It usually works more often than you think. If you have so many debts under, one institution, it is much better to consolidate the debts, of course, in a wise manner, whereby instead of paying, if you are paying an interest of maybe 16%, 18%, 24%, you'd now maybe pay it together maybe at 17% or 15%, depending on the prevailing conditions in your country and where you live and where you bank at. Avoiding debt traps in the future. These are some of the red flags to watch out for. Zero interest for 6 months. Deals, those deals are sometimes the worst, whereby your interest explodes if you miss a payment. You see the way you would go to a bank and you've taken a facility and you don't want to pay it right away, so you ask your loan officer or whoever is preparing your financials and the debt and everything, if you could have a 3 months or 6 months, so to speak, probation. We call it moratorium in banking terms, whereby your moratorium on the principal and interest, but now the interest of the 3 to 6 months is added onto the other months that you're going to pay. The interest is actually really high. Then there is also the buy now, pay later temptations, especially for phones and gadgets, especially the younger generations I see, and maybe the older, but mainly the younger generations. You see a new shiny phone, and that's what you've always wanted. But instead of consolidating the money, you say, okay, let me buy this, then pay later. I'll buy this, then pay later. But the truth is that the buy now, pay later is more expensive in the long run than actually consolidating the money, because when you consolidate the money, you're able to bargain much easier than somebody who is under the program. Because if a phone was, for example, 18,000 Kenya shillings, one customer A bought it had 18,000 Kenya shillings and bought it. Maybe she tried to negotiate, got it down to maybe 16,000. But you've seen the phone is at 18,000, but you don't have the cash right now. Then they will give you a certain payment subscription, maybe 3,000 for the next 7 months or 10 months. You see, you're going to be paying 30,000 compared to somebody who paid 18 or 60 or was able to negotiate lower when they consolidated their money and bought it at the time. And then you see, problem with also some of these gadgets, they're always changing. So today will be an iPhone 14, tomorrow it will be an iPhone 20. And usually phones, really, their softwares, they don't change in the first 3 years. They kind of remain the same with just a few alterations. Lastly, using credit cards for fun money instead of essentials. You know that time when you want to spend, you want to relive moments where you watched, Confessions of a Shopaholic. You want to treat your friends, and treating your friends is an awesome thing, but it's also good to treat your friends and treat yourself when you've actually planned and budgeted it, because it will give you some peace of mind even as you do it. Building healthy money habits. Set a monthly budget. Give yourself that goal. Even a simple 50-30-20 rule, where applicable, will help, whereby you allocate 50% to your needs, 30% to your wants, the shopping, the Netflix, the going out with friends. Then there's a 20% to your savings. Within those 20%, given your resourcefulness, you can build an emergency fund. Don't worry, you can even start with as little as 500, even as little as 200 shillings, and just grow from there. And it compounds. And it compounds also depending on where you put. Always check interest rates for savings accounts, whether in banks, whether in money market funds, if it actually makes sense for you. Then also automate your savings so that you pay yourself fast. We usually say that once you've worked and you've gotten your paycheck, it's always good to quote unquote thank the body. But you can redirect this thanking of the body to paying yourself and putting that money aside for something. Maybe you can say, in the next 3 months, I want to go for a vacation somewhere, or I want to take myself to a restaurant somewhere, or I want to host my friends, and that money will come in handy. All right, that's a wrap. If you're serious about getting out of debt, start today. Pick one action from this episode and commit to it. And if you found this helpful, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Hit the subscribe button and like if you found this video useful. And I'll see you in the next video.